Am I the a-hole for leaving my dad's surprise celebration after being blindsided by my stepmom? I, 26F, have always had a strained relationship with my dad and his wife, my stepmom. My parents divorced when I was 7, and my dad remarried a few years later. His new wife brought a daughter from her previous marriage into the family, and together they had 2 more kids. So I have 1 stepsister and 2 half-siblings, all younger than me. Growing up, I always felt like I was on the outside looking in. My dad seemed completely focused on his new family, and while I wasn't openly excluded, I felt like more of a visitor than a real part of the household. My mom raised me, and I visited my dad on weekends, but as I got older, the visits became less frequent. Still, I tried to keep the peace. I came to holidays, attended family events, and tried to connect with my half-siblings. However, my stepmom and I have never gotten along. She's often critical of me, whether it's my career in the arts, my tattoos, or my decision to focus on myself instead of rushing into a relationship. My dad always avoids confrontation, saying he doesn't want to take sides. Last weekend, my dad's 55th birthday rolled around, and my stepmom organized a surprise brunch at a fancy venue. I showed up with a thoughtful gift and genuinely looked forward to celebrating my dad. Things were going fine until dessert, when my stepmom suddenly stood up and tapped her glass to get everyone's attention. She said, "Since we're all here as a family, I think it's time to address something important." My stomach dropped. She went on to say that I've been distant and don't make enough effort to be part of the family. She mentioned how I don't come to their weekly dinners or offer to help out with my younger siblings. She even brought up how I missed a family barbecue a few weeks ago. I had already explained I was working late that day. Then my dad chimed in, saying he agreed with her and thought it was time for me to apologize for being cold and not appreciating everything my stepmom does for me. I was shocked. This wasn't a celebration, it was an ambush. What made it worse was when my stepsister spoke up, agreeing that I'm always too busy and don't make an effort to prioritize family like I should. At that point, I was completely overwhelmed. I stood up and said, "If this is what you brought me here for, I'm done." My dad tried to stop me, saying I was overreacting, but I walked out. When I got home, I turned off my phone and cried for hours. Since then, my stepmom has been blowing up my phone, calling me selfish and ungrateful. My dad texted me, saying he's disappointed I couldn't stay and talk things out like an adult. Even my mom, who I vented to, said I could have stayed to keep the peace. I feel completely humiliated and blindsided. AITA for walking out instead of staying to hash out their issues?